And we're live. What's up, everybody? What's up, world? Late night. We are on week 4 of this podcast, Launch Radio. Jeff Pilkington here, talking to you guys. There's probably nobody awake because it is 1:17 in the morning on the West Coast, which means it's like 4 in the morning on the East Coast. But I wanted to do one. It's been a very busy day, so I figured I'd come on for a few minutes and see if anybody's here. She probably won't be because everybody's asleep, but I'll talk anyway. And there will be some clips of this up later this week. I'm still always playing with the format of this. It's fun for those that are watching it. I'm also going to have it on audio eventually, so we will keep the fun times going. Anyway, welcome. There's so much to discuss, and the first thing that let's kick it off with what is happening with this. Everybody's talking about this Titanic. I guess this group from this, what was it, Ocean Front Company or something. What was their name? Let's look it up. This Ocean Gate Expeditions decided to. I guess there was this 5 people on board. They put you in a tube. It's the size of a minivan. You take a 2.5 hour trip down to see the Titanic wreckage, and you kind of I guess it's 2 or 3 hours down, and then you spend 3 hours down there, and then it's I think 2 or 3 hours up. So you're looking at I think it's 2.5 each way and 3 hours down there because the whole thing's 8 hours. They lost contact at the hour 45 minute mark. They're bolted into this craft, which, by the way, is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Okay? Like, they're bolted in because of the extreme pressure of the ocean. Folks, rule 1, never get bolted into anything that's going into water, especially to the bottom of the ocean. Just don't do it. Find another way. There's other ways to do it. I just don't like the energy of that, of being bolted into something where you can't get out from the inside. No, that's called a death trap. Okay? And so the first thing I want to say, so these people are lost right now. They can't find them. It's 5 people. It's a bit. I start getting heated already. We're only on topic 1. It's 5 people. Okay? A billionaire, this Hamish Hamlin, is that his name? And then there's, okay, here, let's get their names. 5 people aboard Ocean Gate. Okay. British billionaire Hamish Harding, French diver Paul Henry Nagarole. I botched that. Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood and his son Sulman. And then the founder and owner of the company, whose name is Stockton Rush. Now, I gotta say, I watched some interviews with this Stockton Rush. Is that his name? I want to make sure I got it right. Yeah, and I was not impressed with Stockton Rush. He didn't impress me. The way he talked about this stuff, it just seemed like he kind of threw it together from, and I know that more, they'll say more went into it than threw it together, fine, but he just didn't, I don't know what it is. He didn't seem like I wouldn't have trusted him. And I don't know why, but it's just, I get that they control it with a video game controller, but I heard they actually do that in the military. It makes it really easy to control. But he like bought some stuff at like for the his craft at like just mom and pop stores kind of, and threw it together. And I guess now it's coming out about the company that there were complaints of a former employee was complaining about the safety and ended up having to quit because of like there was a conflict because he didn't think it was safe, and turns out he was right. So these 5 people went down there, and it's now they lost contact an hour 45 minutes in, and it's now this scramble to find them because they're bolted in. being bolted in. No, don't do it. Find another way. Find a lock. Find a way so if they get out to the surface, they can get out themselves. Never bolt yourself in. That is so fucking dumb. Like, there are other ways, okay? I get why they did it, but there are other ways. That's the first thing, okay? And then the second thing is I don't know why anybody would ever do that. I don't know why anybody would pay $250,000. I guess they're just very adventurous at heart. They get a rush from the risk taking, and they got their full risk with that. But nothing seems appealing about that. It seems very anxiety inducing. I would be like claustrophobia. I would be fearful of exactly what happened. And now who knows? I mean, they could be sitting in the dark at the bottom of the ocean in this tank with only 3 days of oxygen and no way to get them up. And that just sounds like very not a fun time. So I would be shocked if they found them. And here's why. It took them 73 years to find the Titanic wreckage, which the Titanic is how long? Very big. It took them 73 years. And now they're trying to find a tube that's the size of a minivan. And they have to do it in 3 days. So it took them 73 years to find the Titanic wreckage, which as we know is huge. And now they're trying to find a tube the size of a minivan in 3 days. I wish you luck. It's probably not going to be very easy. It's probably not likely, but you never know. They could be caught in a fishing net, some have said. They could have had a leak and immediately imploded, in which case they'd be all dead. They could have had a power outage and be floating around somewhere. They could have got stuck in Titanic debris, though I heard mixed reports on that because I don't think they were quite at the bottom yet, but then some people said they may be at the bottom, so we don't know. Maybe they lost contact, but maybe they were already... I don't think they were at the bottom. They were only an hour and 45 minutes into it, and it's a 2.5-hour ride. So it would be one of those things, or they're caught in a fishing net. I think that's unlikely because if they were caught in a fishing net, I feel like they wouldn't have moved as much, right? Unless it's a mobile fishing net, maybe. I feel like that one's kind of unlikely. But the bottom line is the ocean is a powerful force. It took them 73 years to find the Titanic. They're trying to... I mean, entire planes the size of football fields have been lost for like weeks or months in the ocean. This is a minivan size capsule. And it's not just on the surface. It could be anywhere. So it's not looking good. And I would never have gone on that. The guy who ran the company seemed amateurs. James Cameron, who directed Titanic, has been to the wreckage 33 times. Did you know that? 33 times, I read tonight. And if you look at the video and photos of the craft that he took down there, the submersible, it looked much more advanced than this mom and pop one. And I get that it's not fair to say it's a mom and pop because he obviously had put some time into it, but he knew it was really risky, and there's just something unsettling about his whole CBS, like they did a CBS special on it. I mean, this was like their, I think, third time going in 3 summers or something. I don't know. And people paid $250,000. That's just crazy. So I wish them luck, but the currents, if they were floating, the currents could have taken them already way far away from where they were. So I just would be shocked if they find them at this point. It's not looking good. They could be anywhere. And they only have 3 days of oxygen. So you got basically tomorrow left, and that's it. And sorry to hear, sorry for the families. But I think that the owner of that company was not very smart. He was disregarding safety. He was, just the way he put together the craft and the way it operating did not sound very smart or safe. And I think that's sad. And I also think, I heard somebody, David Gallo, say tonight that there's too many people, too many boats and ships and planes trying to find them. Apparently, somebody on Twitter said maybe it causes, he doesn't like that because it causes too much noise. Fine, maybe, but like, though you want, if in case because there's 7 different ways that the craft could get to the surface. We don't know if they lost power. We don't know if they imploded and they're dead. We don't know if they're caught in a fishing net. We don't know if they're caught on the Titanic. We don't know where they are, but because they have 7 different ways they can get to the surface, they may be on the surface somewhere. And to me, I would want as many eyes on the surface as I could, boat, ships, planes. So that's why they do that, to answer David Gallo's question. But you know, I mean, it wasn't a question, but to respond to David Gallo's criticism of having too many planes, like I think, like I don't really agree with what he's saying. He knows a lot more about this than I do, but it would seem you would want as many eyes on the surface as possible in case they're floating somewhere. He probably has other arguments, such as it makes too much noise. I don't know. At most, that seems like a push. So I wish them luck. It's a sad story. It's just the ocean's a powerful force. You gotta be smart going in, and it wasn't just way too much risk. I don't know why they do that. I guess it's just adventure at heart. So anyway, let's move on to the next topic. I gotta tell you that this we talked about this last week, but this, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. went on Joe Rogan, and I guess they had this long discussion about, they were talking about everything because he's running for president, but, they got into the whole vaccine discussion, and they were talking about that for a while, and it's just, one of his main topics that he likes to go at is to talk about vaccines, and the problem is with this is that he's a Democrat, but most Democrats and liberals are pro-vaccine, and yet his big message, one of his big messages is being anti-vaccine, and it just doesn't go along with the party that he's running for. So he has the opposite party rooting for him, but the opposite party that's rooting for him acts as if they act as if they don't the party that's rooting for him isn't his party. It's people on the right. It's people on the right on Twitter that are all rooting for him. Like they're all like, RFK Jr. is going to win. But he's not in that party. But they don't realize at the same time, it's like they don't, like when I say he's a Democrat and no Democrats are supporting him, it's like I just get like deer in the headlights. Like, you can support him all you want, but it doesn't matter right now. And when the Democrats start supporting him, then that changes. But for now, like, they don't, there's like nothing. They're not even watching his stuff. They think it's a joke. I mean, they were showing him on CNN tonight. Poor Daniel Dale's in the debunk. I mean, he's having to, he's got to get rest because they're just working him overtime, but, doing all this RFK debunking. But it's just like, it's just the whole thing is ridiculous at this point because his own party doesn't support him. And the party that does support him acts like he's going all the way without even acknowledging that his own party doesn't support him. So I don't understand any of that. If Biden dropped out, they would find somebody else like Gavin Newsom, probably be the top one. But Biden is in as of now. We'll see what happens. But I'll tell you what, if he drops out, it's not going to be RFK Jr. because they just have no interest currently. And no, I don't think that's going to change. Not at all. I mean, the right can go ahead and run him. But, I mean, this vaccine stuff, just let me give you an example of like what I saw here, okay? One thing that they talked about is how childhood vaccines since the 80s, he makes this bridge. This just infuriates me. He likes to talk about how vaccines maybe cause mental health conditions, which is ridiculous. That's just like he talks about how it cause like, autism, ADHD, depression, anxiety, and then like just health conditions too. He speculates that they cause, but it's just like throwing bullshit out against the wall that doesn't have any scientific backing. Show me the scientific backing for what he says, because nobody is saying, he might as well be saying that unicorns are flying down Hollywood Boulevard, and it would be like, wow, that's a hell of a claim. That's a heck of a, but it doesn't mean that it's anything. I mean, you could say that like, a tube of toothpaste is dancing on my kitchen counter, and that's a heck of a claim, but that doesn't mean anything. It's just because he's a Kennedy, one, and two, he knows how to be, showy and kind of put on a show and kind of get people's attention. So that's two. And three, he knows how to trigger people's points. Like he knows this vaccine opposition, so he's going right at it. I think he knows that he's not going to. He knows the Democrats. He knows he's not going to win. He's just getting all the PR that he possibly can. He knows. He's doing this with like a it's not a serious candidate. And I know some people might disagree with me on that, but he's not a serious candidate. He will be out in no time. But like one example of this is in, how vaccines, the more childhood vaccines, he was comparing that to the rise in autism. It's like in the 80s, 10 childhood vaccines. In 2013, 32 childhood vaccines. In 2022, 74 childhood vaccines. And then compared it to autism. In 1983, autism was 1 in 10,000. In 2013, it was 1 in 88. In 2022, it was 1 in 36. Estimate for 2025 is 1 in 2. So he's making this comparison where, like, when there were more childhood vaccines, then there were more cases of autism. Okay. Do you see how the correlation, isn't causation? He's literally just picking something. Like, we've had a rise in, more people having autism. Well, how many things were there also a rise in at the same time as there were cases of autism? I mean, you could think of, there are probably hundreds of things that have risen in the last 30 years. He's just picking vaccines. So then people who are naturally opposed to vax, they're like, ooh, there must be a bridge between that. Well, but there's no, that's just, you could say that, I mean, there's more of anything. You could say, I mean, I put on Twitter, I'm eating more bowls of oatmeal since then. There's no logic to that. Okay? So if you're being serious when you say that, you're dumb. You look dumb, especially to the left. I don't know what world the right's in. I think they've fallen into just deep RFK brainwash territory. But none of that is legit. It's not true. There's no scientific evidence that vaccines cause any sort of autism or mental health or anything. He's just plucking at your strings. That's all he's doing, because Kennedys know how to do this. They're politicians, and they, he's persuasive, and he pulls people in. But that guy, then there was the guy, what was it, Hotez, that Joe Rogan called out Hotez and said, come debate RFK Jr. on my show, which, by the way, I'm all for it. The left is like, no, science doesn't do that. That's embarrassing. No, we're not going to do that. Why the fuck not? Why not? Have him go on there. I don't give a damn. Send him on there with Joe Rogan. Find me the best vaccine scientists and put them in the room with RFK Jr. Find the 5 best in the world. Put Hotez in there and find me 4 more. Go at it. Why are members of the media, why is Mehdi Hassan and MSNBC and these people, why are they pushing back on that? Who cares? He's more qualified than RFK Jr., who's not even a scientist, who is just pulling things out of his ass. Like, let him go on it. It's better than extending this. I'm tired of listening to this. I'm tired of hearing it. Why won't you just let him go on it? Why are you encouraging him not to? You're just extending the fight. Maybe you like the fight. Maybe that's what it is. But, get the 5 best vaccine scientists in the world. Put RFK Jr. there. Put him on a stage. Air it on CNN, MSNBC, and Fox. And just let him go at it. Because those guys are far more... and then I guess Hotez was saying, well, scientists don't debate. Or, science isn't a thing that debates. I don't agree with that either, really, but anyway, I think he should go on there and just have at it. Why not? Or find me one that can if Hotez doesn't want to. Some guy went to Hotez's house. There are real weirdos on Twitter. Like, that's just bizarre. But anyway, it's just, it's this ongoing thing where RFK Jr. is plucking at the strings of the people who aren't even his own party, and so it just causes this conflict, which the media likes and Twitter likes, and it's just this ongoing spin, and it feels like it's not non-ending at this point. But the guy isn't a real deal for president. I mean, it really is infuriating when smart people say that there's ties between mental health and vaccines. There's none of that's happening. He's just pulling out BS. He's not a serious presidential candidate. And I mean, we'll see if I'm wrong. I'm not wrong on this one. You can trust me. Like I'm not wrong on this, but there are some people that actually think that he is legit, and it's kind of sad and embarrassing to see people get sucked in like that. Because wow. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic. Okay, well, this one's a short one. I mean, this Trump boxes thing. I can't deal with this anymore. You know, he goes on Brett Bauer. Brett Bauer's like the Fox guy, you know, and he says, let me find this. I don't know. We gotta get to the point where I can like play clips on here. I'm gonna maybe I might like rearrange this and make it like closer, so maybe I can be like closer up like I was in my other videos. We're gonna play around with that. But anyway, by the way, I love that like Chris Christie is going at it with Trump. It's just it's just fun. Chris Christie's another one who has no shot at the presidency whatsoever. The only two people that there's only three people, okay, right now there's three people: Biden, Trump, and DeSantis. There's nobody else, okay. There's nobody else. I know that they're there, but there's nobody else. Newsom is the only other guy in the world. The four of them that has a shot. But you know, he went on. Trump went on Brett Bauer, and he said, you know, Bauer asked him why not just hand over the boxes, and Trump says because I had boxes, I want to go through the boxes and get all my personal things. Now, does that mean? See, I get confused with Trump in the media because so much of this gets talked about in different like past, present, and future. The like I can't keep track of what already happened and what's happening currently. Maybe that's my ADD. I don't know, but I really have trouble following this Trump stuff. So while everybody's just talking nonstop about, oh, Trump this, Trump that, Trump this, Trump that, I'm still trying to figure out the details of the story. You know, like everybody's gabbing about Trump, and I can't gab about Trump because I don't even understand the story. So I'm constantly trying to understand the story while everybody is just talking. It just looks like, you know, birds on a box, like just talking. And none of it makes any sense. So I guess Trump said he didn't give back the boxes because he wanted to get his personal things out of them. So has he done that now and given them back? Is he talking about that in the past tense, or is he talking about that now? Because I genuinely have no idea. So, but he wanted to get his personal things out. Great, get your Why does Trump have 500 boxes in his bathroom? I know. Has anybody answered that? Did Brett Bauer even ask him that? Because I don't think Bauer even asked him that. I mean, I get that the left's going to say that he he was stealing secrets or whatever. I mean, I guess I don't know. So he was stealing secrets, but like that's a lot. What was he gonna do with that? Nothing about any of the Trump stuff makes any sense. I literally I can't handle 4 more years of this because I have so many questions about every little thing, and people in the media don't ask the questions that I ask. Maybe because I would get too much to the point of things, and it just looks like people dancing around a campfire. Like I can't. These press conferences, they ask all the stuff that I wouldn't be asking. I would be trying to analyze the speech. I would drill Trump. Like I would want to know why they're still sitting there, why they were in the bathroom, what he wanted to do. Nobody's asking any questions about any Trump box stuff that matter, that have any frame of anything of any importance. So I can't stand it. I have to not talk about this anymore because, and now he's indicted for it, which fine, but I don't want hours of coverage of that either because I can't stand it. I'm just overloaded, and now CNN's starting to do RFK Jr. So we're gonna watch RFK Jr. and Trump. Mike Rothschild tweeted something funny a minute ago about that. He said that The only way Trump gets around his support of the vaccine. Ooh, that was a yawn. We're gonna keep this short because I gotta go to bed soon, but we're gonna go 5 more minutes. He said the only way Trump gets around his support of the vaccine is by naming RFK Jr. as his vice president pick. It's the biggest issue he has with his own base. It totally is, and I've been talking about this on Twitter for 3 months. Trump is pro-vaccine, but his base isn't. So imagine if Trump debated RFK Jr. Imagine if Trump debated RFK Jr. about vaccines, and Trump was pro. We got to do this. Trump's pro-vaccine with the Democrats, and RFK Jr. is anti-vaccine with the Republicans, and have them debate, and everybody's brain will just explode. Okay, everybody's brain will just explode. So if it was my network, I would have them on debating. Okay, the networks are good at talking about stuff that they're just into really spinning stuff. Like, and not spinning to be fake or anything, but like just spinning. It just feels like a lot of just analyzing. Now, hopefully they're getting better with that now, but I would get to the point with this Trump stuff much quicker, and I would get to the point with this vaccine stuff and RFK much quicker. It's like get to it. Let's go. Anyway, what else do I have tonight? I just saw a tweet that said okay, get this. It has been 20. No. Oh my God. 48 years since Jaws was released. Jaws the movie. That is wild. 48 years since Jaws. It makes me think about like what's going to happen with the movies long term here. A lot of people talk about, some people think it's going to go like virtual reality. Some people think it's going to go AI. I don't know what's going to happen. I really think, unfortunately, what's happened with movies definitely in the last 10 years, but I think it started about 15 years ago. And what started it was the internet came around, which people grew into shorter attention span. And then after the internet, social media came around, and then people had even shorter attention span. And then people got everything they wanted online, and people had shorter attention spans. So just going to the movies, people didn't want to do anymore. And it's sad and it's unfortunate. And Martin Scorsese has said movies are in real trouble. He's been saying that for a long time, and they are. And I mean, now we have streaming. But they closed the ArcLight here in Hollywood, which is a very, very famous, long-standing cinema. But I haven't been to the movies in forever. And then, of course, the pandemic hit, and then that really gave a hit on it. But as far as like AI getting involved, and now they've got talking about AI making music, and the Grammys are talking about, how they can't, AI can't get awards unless these certain things are in line. And I think all that's fine. Oh, man. Okay. But I don't know. The thing is, I'm not sure you can ever replace. There's something about human to human connection in art that I don't think AI can replace. And it has to do with connection and attractiveness and just being. And I don't mean physical attractiveness. I mean just connecting to a human. Maybe it's primal, like wanting to hook up, like, I mean, I genuinely mean that, like subconsciously. I think there's a big drive, human to human in art. I think people can see that in art, and subconsciously. And AI will never have that. But what I will say in regards to how the movies and art might connect, and music and art, is all the thing about music. Let's just put it in the music frame. Is what music is it's just A/B testing at scale. So it's testing. It's different. With songs, what musicians do is there's different notes and different tones, and they're blending those together, and then what works becomes a song. And when people respond, it becomes a really popular song. And that combo in the A/B testing happen to work. The problem is with humans is it takes a long time to find one song, artists, because you have to A/B test for a while, and we're not the fastest at A/B tests, and we're A/B testing, and we're just much slower than AI. AI can A/B test at scale. I mean, it can do it really, really fast, which would make you think that AI can create songs really fast. That would be logical. However, and it's already been proven that AI can. And this also applies like for writing, for movie scripts. What's ChatGPT doing? But this is why writers are nervous right now, because of AI potential to write scripts. But the problem is, while it can do that, it's missing the human-to-human connection element that I talked about a minute ago. So I don't know how it's going to be really interesting to see how that bridges, because I think AI does something better with art, and that's the A/B testing. AI can create a lot of songs really quick, a lot of writing. But if you don't have the human-to-human artistic connection, I don't know that can hold, I guess I would say. So, but just know, songs, music, like writing and acting and all forms of art, painting, the different colors, it's all A/B testing. That's all you're doing, is mixing different combos until something is magic. And we think that that's magic, but it's not magic. It's just you found you A/B tested and you found a combination that people responded to. Okay? The magic, if you want to call it that, is in the human connection to it. Okay? That's the magic. The A/B testing is just, if you believe we're in a simulation, it's just we live in a simulation. It's just humans A/B testing very slowly and then finally finding one, and then people connecting to it because of a primal human-to-human connection. I think that's based around a lot of art. It's just that connection. And that's what I don't think AI can replace. So maybe we combine it somehow. It's going to be very interesting to see how the movies... I think they're really going to fall back, unfortunately. And I was an actor for years, so I have much empathy for it. But it's going to be really interesting to see how art and AI can bridge into one another in the long term. And I think that there's something coming. It's often not the first thing. That's why I don't really totally buy the virtual reality thing, because it's usually the next thing. Like this thing that like we think is going to be the big thing, like MySpace, MySpace. Then Facebook came along and it was like, whoa, okay. That's the thing. And Twitter came along and it was like, that's the thing. And MySpace was like a thing of the past. I think virtual reality is MySpace. Okay? I think virtual reality is MySpace. We haven't gotten to the Facebook and Twitter yet with art and movies and AI and music. It hasn't shown up yet. And one thing I always tell people is this is one thing you learn when you're in the present so much as like I am with ADD. I'm locked in the present with ADHD, but one thing that I like to emphasize is everything that is going to be created long term, and that's already been created and that's being created now, everything is already here. Do you understand that? iPhones were here 100 years ago. We just hadn't figured out how to create the physical iPhone yet. But the materials were all here. Do you understand that? Everything is here that's going to be invented. We just haven't. What is an invention? It's A/B testing again. That's one thing I compliment Musk on, is he is A/B testing at Twitter. He understands that. That's like engineer thinking. And so when inventions happen, it's just A/B testing created. So everything's here. We just haven't found the combination yet. And it's coming, but people don't know what it is yet. But it's coming. On that note, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you all for being here. We had 3 big topics tonight. I enjoyed talking about them. Titanic, RFK Jr., Trump's boxes, and AI and art. So I'm going to have my editor edit these clips. I'll have them up later in the week. Thank you all. Here at Launch Radio, we are the future, and the future is Launch Radio. Many more episodes to come. We're going to have guests eventually. I promise. And I'm going to keep souping up the studio, make it look better and better. All right. Love y'all. Have a great night, and I will see you next week. Later.